Greetings, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome back to Masters of Health. We are starting off like the end of the summer. We had a little break, but we're back stronger than ever. And I'd like to welcome our guest, Chaundria. She is from Healthy Trails Living. She has such an interesting story about how she's connected to public health. So I'll let Chaundria introduce herself from here.
Well, thank you so much, Deirdre. It's so nice to be on your program. I appreciate you asking me to join. It's such a beautiful, beautiful layout. Well, I am Chaundria Singleton. I am a certified health coach. I am also a registered radiologic professional technologist, and I worked in brain health, brain research at some of the top research facilities here in Atlanta. For about 6 years, I did brain research. I've always worked in teaching hospitals. I love teaching, hence why I teach at a college now. I'm a college professor in the field of radiology also. How did I get into health coaching? You may wonder. So I have always been passionate about healthy living personally. It has been a lifestyle for me because I've had certain health struggles. You know, that's how a lot of us get into the professions. That's how I got into radiology. I had an issue, and that's the test I had growing up all of my life. And I was like, this is pretty cool. I think I might want to do this. And that's how I got into radiology. And I got into health coaching through healthcare, because once I was able to help myself get healthy and be able to show up to the healthcare field and take care of other people, other coworkers started wanting to get healthy as well. So that is how I got into health coaching, and it's just blossomed since there.
That's awesome. It's like paying it forward. Somebody sees you do well, and it's like, here, let's help you get to where I'm at, right?
Yeah, because we take in the healthcare, we take care of everybody. It's like the hairstylist. You ever go to that hairstylist that she can kill it on the hair? I mean, everybody gets up out of her chair and walks out of her salon looking amazing. And she never has her hair done because she doesn't have time to go get her hair done.
No, I mean, she has to do it herself, and it's like working. Like when we're getting pampered. When does she get a chance to get pampered? It's that age-old story. We're in healthcare and public health. We don't even take care of ourselves a lot, the way that we should. There's radical change needed so that we take care of ourselves.
Yeah, and that's why I got into health coaching, because it was simple things as, bring meals into work. If you're going to work long 12, 16-hour shifts, or leave one shift of a job, and on second shift, you go to another job, because most healthcare workers, I mean, depending on your field, you work PRN somewhere else after your full-time gig, or you pull call at another hospital. I mean, that's just the life of healthcare workers.
Yeah. It's a grueling career.
It's so interesting because, you love it, but you also have to take priority and take care of yourself. So that's what I help individuals do.
Yeah, and that's been a running theme. So you gave us a little bit about what you do and what your profession is. Normally, I would ask, well, what public health field does it cover? But being that you're in radiology, that kind of covers a lot, right? Like you said, there's the brain. We can get x-rays of a whole lot of pieces of the body. Question, can you give us a little bit about the radiological piece? Most times I think when people hear radiology, they might think x-rays, but there's all different types of scans and things. So can you walk us through what that is?
Yeah. So, it's so interesting that you say that, because when we think of nursing, we just think of the nurse that sees us in the ER. We think of the nurse that's bedside, but nursing, oh my goodness, if people knew all the different directions you can go in healthcare. So radiology, it is x-rays. We call it diagnostic x-rays. So most people know they go in and get an x-ray, they break a bone, but we do all kind of x-rays. We have x-ray that looks at the GI tract. We have x-rays that look at the esophagus. We can watch you swallow whatever it is you're drinking or eating and see how, if you're aspirating it when you eat. We have all type of x-rays. It goes beyond just bones. We look at how the gastrointestinal tract works. We can see everything. When I say everything, I mean everything. But you also have, beyond diagnostic x-ray, we have more detailed x-rays. Well, I should say x-rays, more detailed radiology scans that we could do. You have PET scans, you have CT scans or CAT scans, you have MRI, magnetic resonance imaging. You have nuclear medicine. You have ultrasound. Ultrasound is included in radiology, even though you don't have to go to school for diagnostic radiology to be an ultrasound tech, but it is all in that field. Oh, we have radiation therapy. We have echocardiograms, all kind of stuff. We have several different ways you can go. And then we have things within those particular fields. So it's so many ways you can go.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I remember I had a stint at a major cancer hospital in the New York tri-state area, and I had no clue. Like, you learn that they do this really good training program where they teach you a lot and like what that means, so that you know, like when the doctor's ordering something, it's like, oh, this is what it is. And then you get to, and you know, don't have your cell phone, don't wear any you know, magnetic jewelry. So it's like I got to a point where I would stay away from like the floor. That's the it's like a huge magnet. I'm like, just to stay safe, let me just not go in that room. But
yeah,
you know,
that's MRI. Yeah, we won't let you pass the threshold with any bobby pins or anything. Yeah. So
right,
I do, like, you know, my background is in. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say my background is actually from. There's a delay. I think there's a delay.
It shows everything. And, you know, being that you're in nutrition, which we'll get into after you, like, you know, talk about your background, you know, can you share, like, you know, maybe correlate a little bit how the radiology and the nutrition coincide or intersect?
Yeah, so that's really good because so my background, the main things in radiology I do, I can do mammography. I'm nationally certified in mammography because that goes right hand in hand with MRI. I chose to add that certification because in MRI we look at the breast as well. That's really popular now. It's unfortunate, but we have more MRI of the breast that are being done, which is an amazing scan. I mean, I just think it's beautiful. There's no radiation with MRI. So, you know, and it's very detailed. So you need detail when it comes to breast tissue and to see all what you need to see. I also do CAT scan. I've done that for about 10, I specialized just in that for about 10 years. And I still do them all. I can still do them all. X-rays I have not done since I was in school. So my husband does X-ray. He has to tell me how to do them because I can't really do anything but a chest X-ray. It's been 20 years since I shot an X-ray. You probably want to choose the person that does it every day because it is radiation. I mean, I can do it, but everything's so technical now, you know, angles and things like that. We just don't push buttons in radiology. Yeah. I love to make sure I say that because, you know, we laugh about the jokes that are told on ER when you watch ER shows and they're always, where's radiology? It's like, we're always down there. We're always on time. You're never waiting on radiology. So we all laugh about that. And then when they hang up the X-ray that's really MRI, but they're saying it's a CAT scan, we're like, who wrote this? Who is their back behind the scenes person? So they could help them get it right. It's not the MRI. But how did healthcare fit into Yeah. So how does health coaching fit in? Oh, House gets it right though. House always gets it right. I will say that. The other ones, I don't know.
That's good.
Yeah, but House always got it right. I have not, except when they had they even got the MRI with the CAT scan. They didn't use a CAT scan machine. Most TV shows use a CAT scan machine instead of an MR because you can see on the other side. MRI doesn't have an opening. Right. Yeah, so you can't really, well, it does, right. But it's too long for the camera to be able to get into. So, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
The videoing of it is, the video of it is harder.
That's like really good to know. Like, even though, you know, we're talking about, you know, we're seeing how entertainment kind of pulls in this profession, it's good to know when people are being shown things, like, to correct the misinformation, right? So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. So you asked, how does health coaching and wellness fit into radiology? When I was doing brain research, we had basically a grant to watch children who came from the inner city and feed them their normal diet, what they would normally eat. And then there were children that came from a wealthier part of town and they ate what they normally eat. The same test was given to both of these types of students over, like, I think it was 6 or 8 weeks. They were given the same test. The children who ate poorly scored really bad and their behavior was bad. Well, the children who ate a better diet, you know, and, you know, they did better. So they switched to the next 6 or 8 weeks, and they fed the children in the poor area the diet of the kids that were more affluent, and they swapped their meals out. So the affluent kids ate what the poor kids would eat, and the vice versa. And they administered their test again. Well, they noticed that the children in the poor area, their behavior got better, their test scores were better. And the children in the affluent area, their behavior got worse and their test scores were bad as well too. So it was an amazing eye opener, something I already knew because I know how you feel and how you act when you eat real food, when you live a healthier lifestyle. I have found it to be true for myself. I have hundreds of clients that have, reversed things just by making simple changes. We always talk about these big changes that are not realistic, and they're not realistic in the short term, especially. And that's what I like to help people to see, that when patients come to me for, say, an MRI of their lumbar, most of those patients are obese, or they have men with a really big belly. So if you have that big belly, you're not standing like someone who did not. You wouldn't have the best posture. So you're putting strain and stress on your lower back, which as we age, we don't need to add anything else. So, and most people, it's just tougher, for them when it comes to their back, the obesity, and also maybe the type of way that they eat. It also doesn't lend itself to less inflammation. So if you got inflammation going on in your body because of the way you eat, you're less mobile. And then you have obesity as well, where those patients are able to clean up their eating habits some, exercise a little bit more, eat a less inflammatory diet, which means real food. A lot of them can either avoid surgery or they can have better recovery or quicker recovery from surgery.
Right. That's really interesting. And what about, can you speak to, I think, it is kind of a well-known fact when you have a lot of weight around the midsection, it is also like a precursor for other things like diabetes, heart disease, and things like that. So that's interesting. And then you're bringing in and this is also how it's affecting you even deeper inside, to the bone, to the musculoskeletal level. This is how it affects you.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about health?
Yeah. So Healthy Trails Living, we actually I've been coaching since 2006. Again, started in the healthcare field. And since the pandemic, I've been able to go beyond the hospital. I've been able to help individuals, outside of my circle that I spent most of my time in pre-pandemic. Things have definitely changed in the hospital now. You don't have family members coming in with, less people. Coworkers are overworked. They're still very overworked, and things are unfortunately kind of going back in that direction. So it's even more important, I feel, for healthcare workers and everyone to get healthy, to look to prevent. And that is what Healthy Trails is all about. I tell people, I did a live today and just basically let people know I am not a weight loss coach. That is not what I specialize in, but my clients do lose weight. They do lose weight if their bodies need it. And I say that because when I became vegan in 2006, I'm not vegan anymore, but when I became vegan, I was vegan for a few years. I still don't cook meat in my house. I still cook everything vegan. That's just the way that I continue to do for myself, because it's easier and it's less expensive actually too. It's less expensive, and I can cook up a 3-course meal that's plant-based and it tastes great. We love it around here. But I love for people to understand that when it comes to health coaching, my focus is to help you to create simple and lasting habits that not only are going to make you look fabulous, you're going to wake up every day feeling good. And that is one thing that I have achieved. I showed a picture of my story, how I looked high school. And I tell you, I didn't realize how swollen I was. So people may say, well, you've always been about 130, 125. Yeah, but it's not about the weight. Always. The weight plays a part, don't get me wrong. But you can be thin and still unhealthy. I had so much gut inflammation that I was miserable. And I thought it was just, oh my God, we don't realize the connection between the gut and the brain. We really don't. And that's what I help my clients do, is create habits that actually fit your lifestyle. And I think that's important because when I have calls with people, the first thing they want to correct is their weight. Excellent. I think that's a great goal. But I'll give you a short story. I had a client that used to go to Mayo Clinic for IV infusions, for iron infusions. She had lupus.
Mhm.
She had several things. It's not private or anything like that. She's signed over that she's okay with me telling her story. She has lupus. She has fibromyalgia. And she needed a kidney biopsy. Well, her blood level, her hemoglobin was like at a 5 something. And she was getting these infusions every month, all the time, driving down to Mayo Clinic. Nothing was working. This was months she was getting this, and it did not raise. She did my program, and in 10 days doing my program, she went back to the doctor after she fussed me out and told me she didn't lose any weight but 4 pounds. She was like, your program does not work. I only lost 4 pounds. I want to lose this weight. I'm not doing your program anymore. And I was like, okay, well, let me ask you, how do you feel? Well, I'm really energized. That's what she told me. I'm really energized. And I said, okay, anything else? Well, I've been going to the bathroom more regularly. It's like, okay, anything else? Well, I feel better. My husband told me I was happier. Okay, anything else? And I'm like, so out of those 3 things, losing weight, and 4 pounds is a lot.
It is.
4 pounds is a lot in 10 days. And you look natural. It's not like, oh my goodness. So she was like, well, I'm going to my doctor's appointment. She went and she calls me from the parking lot. The doctor burst in and was like, what did you do? Your hemoglobin is up to 12 point something. I forget, it was 12 point something. And she's like, well, I've been doing this program and I didn't think it worked. He's like, well, if that's the only thing you change, keep doing it. Come back to me in 3 more months and we will see if we could do your biopsy. Went back. The next month she lost about 20 something pounds. Her weight started falling off there, but it all looked natural. She looked so healthy. She felt great. She was eating healthy. Like, it's amazing what people can do when they have the knowledge and when it fits into their lifestyle and when they start to feel better.
Yeah. It's like the live food. It does wonders because the food is alive. It's not, dead flesh carcass, and enough because I used to be a meat eater and those cravings don't really go away, but you can't help but notice the difference when you are eating live food. It's just better for you, have more energy. I'm going through a juice fast right now. I'm like the Energizer bunny at like 11 o'clock at night. I was like, I gotta go to sleep. But, it does wonders. And the other thing that you were talking about, it's like, it's a lifestyle change. I think we all know there's this whole big movement. Like, everybody's vegan, everybody's plant-based. But, people are doing it just to kind of jump on the bandwagon. Like a sister of mine, she says bandwagoneers. But it's really a change, It can't be just like, well, I'm going to do this, and you just make this drastic change. You have to kind of go slowly. Maybe some people can. It's kind of like quitting smoking, how some people can quit cocaine and others need to ease into it. But either way, it's still a lifestyle change, whether you do cold turkey or you make a slow, gradual transition. You have to wrap your head around.
Yeah. I love how you said that because someone asked the question, how does my expertise in radiology connect with the work that I do with health coaching? Well, it does, because of my 20 years of working in healthcare, I have seen people sick unnecessarily when they can make simple changes. I've seen people spend thousands of dollars on radiology exams that if they just changed lifestyle habits, I've seen people have back surgeries. And the doctors told them, before you have the back surgery, I need you to lose 20 pounds. But they really need them to lose about 100. But before you could get the back surgery, I need you to lose 20.
Yeah.
And they can't do it. So they can't get the back surgery. And they say, well, I'll lose it after I get this back surgery and that'll alleviate my pain. Doctor's like, no, it won't. And I have seen some of my clients come from dietitians and nutritionists. I work with doctors who send me patients because they give them protocols to follow. They give them lab work to look at. Nobody knows how to read that stuff. People don't know. I mean, really, and they don't know.
It's letters and decimal points. And unless you know what the ranges are, you really don't know what you're looking at.
Even if you see the ranges, it says high. Okay, what do I do now that it says I'm high? What does high mean? What does low mean? Should I be in the middle? People don't know.
even like the titles, it's like CBC. Well, what does that mean? HBA, what does that mean? Like,
Exactly.
those acronyms, you're not really gonna. And I think some of those have like gone out of my brain. Like when you work in the hospital, you do you learn by being in the environment. But like the
Yes.
average person doesn't know what that means. They don't.
Yes. So when clients come to me, I have worked in teaching hospitals. I've worked in areas. I understand anatomy really, really well. That was my thing. I love anatomy. I love science. I studied health and wellness for a very long time, even before becoming a health coach. I studied it for myself. Again, I was my first customer, my first patient. Because if you're not living right, if you're not living it, how can you help somebody else? I would never go to a doctor that's not healthy. I would not. I would never go to a chiropractor who has his back messed up. I wouldn't go to an acupuncturist that doesn't get acupuncture. I wouldn't.
Right.
I
know,
would.
it's kind of like, yeah, I agree. Like even for myself, like I'm a person in public health, right? So that visual it makes a difference. So I personally am like, I have to get my health in order. I can't be obese or overweight and then talk to people about public health, because that's not, it's not good. Like, we know that if you're in that range, and while they say, yeah, you can be overweight and be metabolically healthy, it's only a matter of time before that kind of goes away, right?
And your skin tells you a lot about you too. So, I get clients they're skinny, they look beautiful, but their hair is dry, their skin is dry, their gums are messed up, their eyes look really bad. Your eyes tell a lot about you.
The white, your eye, the sclera.
Yeah, if you look at people's eyes, you can tell dark circles around their eye. I mean, your skin, your skin tells what's going on in your body. Your eyes tell, your tongue. I mean, it's certain things that, your hair, if you're brittle and dry, it could be skin conditions, but it all goes back to the gut. The gut is just like something so ignored, and we don't realize how much attention we should be paying to it. And it's that we don't have to always think about. I tell people, when they come about weight, yes, that is important to get it under control, but you can't get it under control when your body can't absorb nutrients because your gut is off. Your microbiome is not balanced. So I would not even try to touch trying to lose. I got clients. I had one lady, she lost 82 pounds, no problem. But then she gained it right back when she got off that diet. And she because she didn't know how.
She's like, you back on that stuff again, aren't you?
So that's why I tell people you have to teach people. I just truly believe that when people know how to do this and how to do it for them, there's no cookie cutter way for everybody. If people know how do fruits and vegetables, how does eating right look for me? Because you can put together this plant-based living. Well, me personally, I own 2 juicers. I grow my food. I've been growing my food since 2006. I grow year round. I believe in having your own source of food. I make my own. Like when you talk about people jumping on the bandwagon of vegan, I just want to talk about that for a second because it drives me crazy. It drives me crazy because I'm like, I didn't become a vegan for anything social, nothing political. I didn't become to save the animals. I couldn't see out my right eye. I was going blind with these migraines. I was taking Benadryl, Excedrin, and a goodies powder just to get through a 12-hour workday with migraines and allergies, and my liver was shot. And a friend said, you should try veganism. And I was like, yeah, no, I like my seafood. I'm from Florida, and we went fishing every Friday, and I love my turtle. I love my fish. I love my crabs. Oh, girl, we are from South Florida. Turtle soup. My grandfather snapping. He would catch a snapping turtle. Oh, my goodness. I've eaten alligator, frogs.
I'll never know. The world.
Yeah. I mean, I probably never knew when I was young, but we just ate, and my grandfather, he worked in the sugarcane fields and stuff before I was born. So he knew we ate sugarcane. That was our sweets. But I say all that to say, when I did become, it was for health reasons. And I was only going to do it for 2 weeks. And I saw, and back then they didn't have I think one brand, the popular brand that starts with an M. I won't say the name, but that was the only vegan stuff you could buy in the store unless you bought like the ones with the not so popular ones that you see the carrots and everything inside now that cost you $3-4 for one of those sorry, I almost said that.
It's okay. I knew. I was like, I think it's that one.
Yeah, sorry. But and that was good. But you only got two for like almost $4. And I could eat one of those by myself. And my taste buds weren't. I'm sorry.
I said one sitting.
Yeah, and my taste buds weren't metabolically there as well. That's the other thing that I teach my clients. You can want to eat healthy all you want, but until your taste buds reach that scientific change that has to happen, your body has to chemically, beets are gonna taste nasty, green smoothies gonna taste nasty when you first start. But once you get into it and your body changes, it takes a few weeks of you giving yourself that. And then after a while, you're like, oh, this tastes so good. Beets taste like candy. Carrots taste so sweet.
I didn't know. I know that now. I did not know. And yes, you're right. Everything was disgusting. It was just like, what? Because you have to clear the palate. It's just like, what's going on in the gut, the worms and all that stuff has to be cleared out. The same thing happens in your mouth. You've got to clear the palate. And like now with juicing, like there's no sugar, no nothing. It's just the sugar from the fruit or the vegetables. And it is like, I'm like,
it tastes so good, girl. I use dates to sweeten my stuff now. I never was in the apple juice, but I want to go back. I think I was saying, about veganism starting out.
Yeah.
Now you have a lot of processed things. And, I tell people, whatever is going to help you to make that change, to have a meatless Monday, or 1 day or 2 days, or whatever it is. But to eat any processed foods on a regular basis, you're just going to put yourself back in the same situation that you were in, whether you ate meat or didn't eat meat.
Yeah.
So, for me, the way I started out veganism, I had to learn how to make my own cheese because I like queso dip. I like nachos. I like mac and cheese. So
that's my kind of food. I'm like, I like the dip.
I like my jalapenos and my queso. So I had to learn how to use plants to make those things. And it was trial and error. It cost a lot of money through the trial and error. And that's what I do. I help my clients to see if you want to buy the processed things, these are the times you don't want to eat them all the time. And if you do, you need to make sure you have some activity going on in your life. You can't eat that stuff and be sedentary. You can't eat it every day just because the name on it says vegan. Right. And you also need to learn how to, what if you can't get to the store and buy that stuff? How do you then make cheese?
Right.
You don't need but a few ingredients, some flour and water and some seasoning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm so glad you have to move. Like you can't just be like, oh, I don't eat the meat anymore and I'm eating greens and stuff. But you have to move so your body can like work it off because that stuff still does have sugar and things in it. You got to move it. I want to like just acknowledge in the chat, like Sovereignty says, talk your mind, Chaundria. They are the two things we can do to improve gut function and repair the gut-brain connection.
Well, it's a couple things. And each person is different. I'm not giving any medical advice. Let me make sure I say that, not giving any medical advice. But for what, I'll tell you what I did. Let me be safe and just tell you what I did. Because each person is different that I work with. Mm-hmm. You need to reset your body. I believe, just for me, I was eating so much and everything was just not absorbing. Mm-hmm. My body couldn't keep up with, we eat 3-4 times a day. That probably doesn't include our snacks. That doesn't include all the processed foods we eat. So imagine, I give people a visual because I'm a visual person. Imagine eating 3 times a day and everything you ate was processed. Mm. Your body tries to break that down, but you ate all this meat. Meat takes about 18 hours from mouth to rectum to get out. And that's in probably a normal gut system. Now, if you got IBS, Crohn's, slow gut systems, leaky gut, whatever, if you got the slow gut system, that takes maybe a little longer. Now you eat some vegetables behind that meat and they go out the system faster than meat does, but you blocking it up with this meat and this other processed food. So all of that stuff is just breaking down in your gut system and you eat something else right behind it. That's breaking down. And you got that slow driver in the front who can't see over the steering wheel in your gut and they take it forever to get out. I'm from South Florida, so that we have a lot of little drivers like that in South Florida. So, I love for people to like get a visual of what goes on in your gut.
Yeah, and that is a visual.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm a teacher by nature. I love teaching. I love for people to see. I like for people to see as you're talking, because that's how I learn. Let me see it. Then I can say, oh, okay, let me change that, or let me adjust that. So, that's what I tell people. Imagine it. So if you gave your body a break, I do a 10-day reset with all my clients for 4 months. 4 months, why? Because your body gets new cells every 180 days. So those cells that's used to eating Popeye's chicken, I love to tell the story. The cells that's used to eating fried chicken and all this stuff, they tell you that's what they like, because that's what they're used to getting. Now, if you just immediately start giving them vegetables and cut out what they used to give, and they are going to revolt. So what we do in 10 days, we just cut out gluten, artificial refined sugars. Yep.
Yeah. There's
Yep.
anger. I was very angry.
Oh yeah, honey, that candida and that sugar is like, I am not leaving without a fight.
It's literally in the gut. Feed me, Seymour. What happened to the Popeye? Like weeks.
Oh my goodness, this is so funny. We are like really helping people to see, because this is real. I mean, if y'all look at my Instagram, people laugh at my reels because I try to be educational, but I also try to be real and funny. Like, I gotta laugh with stuff too, but I'm also very serious when it comes to my health coaching. I take it seriously. I take radiology seriously, but I have fun with it too, because people, somebody said parasites are vicious. Yes, they are. I got a story for that too, y'all. Oh my goodness. But it's so interesting how when you give yourself those 4 months, the first month, it's like you fighting. You're like, I don't know if I can do this. Second month, it's like, it wasn't that bad. Like your brain starts kind of coming around, but it's not there yet. Third month, those 10 days, these are 10 days every 4 months. Third month in those 10 days, it's like, I got this, and I'm not going to do any meat. I'm just telling you what people do. I'm not doing any meat this third month. Okay, if you want to, and they do it. And they're so proud. They're feeling good. By the fourth month, they don't have time to talk to me for their coaching because they got so much energy. They feel so good because now those new cells have come in. Those old cells that are used to eating poorly or not eating enough, the hormones are getting balanced now. The liver is able to move everything on out and flush stuff on out. The sugar is out of the bloodstream. It's not just sitting there along with those hormones, because you have enough fiber, quality fiber, soluble and insoluble. I talk a lot about that. I am huge on fiber. And getting real fiber that's soluble and insoluble. Most of us just eat soluble fiber all day. That's why we blocked up. That's another reason why we blocked up. That's another reason. You got to have both. Can't have too much of anything is not good.
Right. That's true.
Even if it's vegetables, you got to have a balance. So in those four months, these new cells come in and they used to you eating this new way and exercising and things being moved on now. They're used to that. So now that gut to brain connection and conversation this is what I need. This is what I want you to eat. You naturally start craving it. Somebody said they love beets now. Oh, Brussels sprouts. They love Brussels sprouts. And they never thought they would. So that is how the brain and the gut, just a little short visual of how it works.
Yeah. I remember, like, for the Brussels sprouts comment, I remember the first time I had them. It was while I was still like a meat eater, and they were grilled. I was at some fancy smancy restaurant in the city, and they were grilled. But not with like a whole lot of stuff. And I was just like, my connection to Brussels sprouts was just like hearing, like, on television, it would be like a punishment, like, eat your Brussels sprouts. Yeah. These are good. I don't know why people would like give these things like a negative, like, connection. They're really good. And I'm like, my mom never made them. I make them all the time. All the time.
We never ate them either. I never ate them either. And it's so interesting. I can't eat them now because they give me such bad heartburn. But I'm going to tell you how good they are. I still try to eat them and deal with the heartburn. My husband would not let me make them. Now he's like, you are in too much pain. They're like cabbage. They really bother me. But you know what I said? When I grow cabbage, I don't have that problem.
Interesting. It's the cruciferous vegetables. They have that gas. It's the gas.
What kale also drops my blood pressure really low, which that's what kale does. It lowers your blood pressure. But for me, like, I passed out at work one time. I ate this bomb kale salad that I made. Girl, it was so good. I had a huge bowl. I sat back there eating it, and my coworkers found me passed out. Fortunately, I didn't have a patient. And then I put the connection together that every time I eat this kale salad, I want to faint. And so I would get my blood pressure checked, and it would drop. My blood pressure had gotten to like 90 over like 51 times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I grow my own kale now and I eat it in smaller. See, that's what I'm talking about, adjustments. You don't have to give up stuff, but unless it's going to kill you, cause you have an allergic reaction. But what I did was I grow it myself. It's less tough. I can massage it and it breaks down faster. I can put it in my Vitamix and it breaks down a lot faster than that stuff you buy in the stores. And also, I find that when I eat the kale, of course, I don't eat the big bowl of kale salad now. I eat a smaller bowl and I take my time eating it and I don't have those issues. So it's about making adjustments. Let's not punish ourselves and think that food is the enemy. It's always balance.
I was just about to say that, like, that's the perfect example. It doesn't mean you just go ham and like, I'm just going to eat everything green, because maybe you can't take everything green. It's just like being plant-based. It may not work for your metabolic system or how you process. Like, you may need to like eat certain foods. You just have to find that balance that works for you to keep you healthy. There was a question in the chat. I want to like be mindful of time. I had one question and I'll go to the chat because I want to like kind of bring us back around. Like, this show is really for people who are in the public health field, and you can see. And so today's show is really showing how we can connect that clinical piece, which is like radiology, with nutrition. Like this is what happens on the inside when you're not taking in things on the inside properly. It's not just the external. We can even see what it does to you on the inside. And so for those of you who are public health students, being a health coach, because again, public health is about promoting good choices, preventing disease, and prolonging life. So, this is really, really good. And I give thanks to you for like this, body of knowledge that you're sharing to the viewers.
Can I say one more thing? Because just really briefly, because I love the question someone asked, I think it was Max, about the connecting of radiology and health, our health and wellness. Yes. So when I do radiology, we do exams that you have to put an IV in and you have to get blood back. And I have to run certain tests in order to see how your kidneys function. So I do have to put IVs in and draw blood, and I have to be able to run it through a machine. There have been times that, number one, I can't even get an IV on people. That's number one. I can't. And these are not just older people. These are most of the time young people. Right. I can't even get an IV on them. Like, we have to put double tourniquets, put a warm compress, have their arm, like, too much. What if you were in an emergency situation and you needed access to your veins?
Yeah.
That's one thing I tell people. The other thing is, when I draw blood, I could tell sometimes, not all the time, but I could tell a lot of times whether you are a heavy meat eater or if you eat plants.
Interesting. So most radiologists also trained in phlebotomy.
So X-ray, back in the old days when we started, if you didn't know how to put IVs in, there are some places you can't work if you can't put IVs in.
Oh, wow.
Because you're sometimes the only technologist. So if there's and a lot of doctors don't know how to put in IVs, and nurses doctors would tell you, when you find a doctor that knows how to put in an IV, girl, you better stick with them. You find a doctor that knows how to put in an IV, that's a good doctor. That doctor, that means he was learning, he was hands-on, he was in there. Now, I'm joking. I'm not saying that just because the doctor can't put in the IV. It's not easy to do IVs. I trained with some of the top nurses because I knew that I wanted to do, I do consulting in radiology. So I don't scan a lot. I don't really scan a lot just because after 20 years and you've done so many things, you get more into the consulting part of it. So I travel to different hospitals, but I love to tell people that story that as technologists, there are certain things we need to do, and we need you to be healthy for us to do them. I have people that can't get radiology exams. I work with a surgeon now. It's a surgeon that's one of my clients through Healthy Trust Living. And I met him through radiology because I did some consulting with his practice when he got an MRI machine. Right. So people have to get an MRI first before he does back surgery or any kind of orthopedic surgery. He's an orthopedic surgeon. He has to turn away so many people. Number one, because they have high blood pressure. They can't put you under if your pressure is not stabilized.
Oh, you won't wake up.
And then he has to turn away people for surgery because diabetes. You might not heal after the surgery too well.
Oh,
infection,
yeah.
because you won't heal because of the diabetes, and you won't keep that blood sugar is not controlled. Okay, so those are two things. So my health coaching helps with that. So I have a program where this program I talk about the 4 months. I help his patients who don't qualify for surgery to get
Okay.
qualified. 4 months. So now we get your blood sugar under control. We get your diabetes and your high blood pressure under control. Hopefully get you off the medicine by your doctor, and then you can get that surgery and get that fixed, so you can heal up and don't have a secondary infection.
That is awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
So everything connects. When I tell you everything connects.
I'm so grateful that you're showing this connection. There was a question in the chat, if you don't mind answering, like, can you explain the difference between the soluble and the insoluble fiber?
Okay, so real quick, I'll make it brief, but if you want to learn more, I am actually going to be breaking that down, because I have been doing a lot on fiber on my social media page, and everybody wants to know about that soluble and insoluble.
Okay.
Basically, think about it this way. One keeps everything moving. The insoluble is more like that fiber that keeps things kind of soft and pliable and moving out. Soluble fiber is the more bulky kind of fiber. It bulks things up so they can grab it. So if you get everything grabbed up and bulked up, you need something to kind of move it on out. And water may not, if you're eating every kind of food that bulks things up, because you got to kind of get all the trash all accumulated and got together, but now you got to get it on out.
Yes.
That's what insoluble does. So if you get fiber that, certain foods have that are good, apples with skin on it. Do you know how many people cut the skin off of their apples?
I stopped doing that, because I learned that it's good. You eat the apple. I mean, I don't do the stem. I can't do it. But like I just drop it all in there.
I made a smoothie on my social media, and I put the whole pear with the stem in there. A girl was like, "You didn't take the stem off?" I was like, "No. You know how many nutrients are in that stem?"
Okay, I'll start leaving my stems on then.
My blender blended it right up. I wasn't chomping on the stem. I tell people, leave the skin. I mean, some people can't eat the skin, but your gut is not healthy. So it takes time to kind of get the gut a little healthier, so it can break down the skin. If you eat foods every now and then, of course your body's going to revolt. It's like, I'm not used to eating that. I'm used to eating apple Jolly Ranchers, not apples. So
right.
Yeah.
Apple flavored ices, or what else? What would I eat that was like apple flavor? Because I would love apple flavored banana, usually candy. Like, Taffies.
Oh yeah, I forgot about those. And apple juice. In my gut. All of those things. So I tell people, if you're I have some people make smoothies and they pour, those fruity drinks inside of there to kind of sweeten it up. Mm-hmm. It takes time for your taste buds to get used to, different smoothies, different taste of juices. But if you're going to use any kind of juice to flavor it, get a date, put it on the stove, and melt it down.
That's good. I learned how to make my own date syrup. You could even just soak it in water.
That's it. They don't last in this house.
They're really sweet. I never knew it. They're so sweet. So like now, if I eat something that has like, added sugar or processed, like which is rare, like if I get something that's packaged and it's super sweet. And then I notice like I will because it's still, that memory is still there. It's like the brain is still there. It's like, I remember this, get some more,
Yeah. I noticed that when I eat things that artificial refined sugar, my cycle changes.
Yes.
I tell women this all the time, because fibroids run really heavy in my family. I had never had them until I was about 25, 26. Mm-hmm. And then I used food, growing my own food and juicing that, eating that, cooking that, for the most part, I ate what I grew. And I mean, the changes were just amazing. And to this day, I credit my lifestyle. Now, do I still eat certain things? Yes, I do, but I don't eat them on a regular basis. I could probably count on one, maybe two hands in a year how much I eat those things, because you just don't crave them.
Yeah. Yeah. There's still things I crave, but then I realize there's a lot of things I'm like, I don't miss it. So I thank you so much, Chaundria. Can you share with the audience like where they can find you? And you talked about you have some series coming up soon about the fiber. So share with them, and I think it's also in the chat, your website, but you can share that information.
Thank you very much for having me. I really am so glad for this connection. I enjoyed this so much. I'm usually the one doing the podcast, but I love being a guest on people's podcasts. It's a whole different role. I appreciate you, number one, and I appreciate your guest for being so vocal and the great questions in the chat. I love it. I love it. I love it. So you can find me on Instagram, on Facebook, and on TikTok at Healthy Trails Living. That's how you can find me, Healthy Trails Living. And yes, I actually just went live today. I haven't posted it on Instagram yet, but we are doing next Thursday, Know Your Cholesterol Numbers. I am partnering with a registered nurse of over 40 years. And she's been asking me for the longest, for 2 years, to do this. She's like, people need to know their numbers. They need to know how to read it. And it is a free webinar. We're going to run it next Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you are welcome to message me. The link will be on one of my social media links. You can register there and the link will be sent out to you. We do a lot of free things. We teach people how to cook plant-based. Yeah. On Sundays. We have a Zoom call on the first Sunday of every month, and you can get on the list for that as well. And we have 2 different plant-based chefs, one that's gluten-free cooking as well. And they are the bomb. They let me cook sometimes, but most of the time they cook. And we interview a medical professional that touches on how they, even as medical professionals, doctors, they want people to eat more plants because then they can prescribe less medicine. You know, they want healthy patients. So we just have to be partners in our health and not patients.
Yeah, right. I'm glad you said that. Just a quick thing before you go. I think one of our viewers, Sovereignties, she's probably going to reach out to you because she does something very similar up here, up top in the north. So
nice.
Out to you soon. So yeah. Give thanks for your time and all of your knowledge. It is so appreciated. And maybe we'll do another, because we also have a True Health Live podcast. So, maybe we'll make time for another go at and we can go deeper into the nutrition. So
yes, and you got to be on my podcast as well. Yes, I would love to have you. Okay, great. You said it, so I'm gonna send you the link to sign up for it.
Perfect. So thank you so much. This is Chaundria Singleton. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you everybody in the chat for all of your questions and being engaged. And we will see you in the forward. Peace.
Bye bye everyone. Thanks so much.